Good evening, everyone. It is Friday, March 25th, 2016. We finally made it to Friday. I'm so happy because this week has been extremely long, and I feel like it's been a blur.
It's been a crazy week for me. I know there's been tests, there's been quizzes. Everything is piling up with school and students this week.
Yep, and programs, too. We've been programming our lives away. I know you more so than me, but we've still been doing it. But anyway, welcome to the Friday show, everyone. I am Matt Reagan.
And I'm Sara Wugofski.
It'll be a great one today. We've had a lot of weather in the area over the past about 24 hours or so.
It's been very eventful. I know students walking to class this morning had the big rainstorm coming down. I know when I was going to my class around 10 a.m., I had my umbrella out, and it wasn't even enough to protect my ankles from walking outside of the umbrella's range.
Yeah, Friday, a lot of the Friday afternoon blues here with the cloud cover around. A lot of people maybe skip class to sleep during the day because this is great sleeping weather for me. I don't know about you.
It's great sleeping weather and great studying weather. I know it's going to be a good weekend to just hole up in Strozier, study, program, do all of my homework for the week. That way I won't be stuck doing all my work when it's sunny a little bit later in the week.
Yeah, we will tease the sun just a little bit later on in the show. We've got severe weather around in the area. We're going to talk about some possibility of tornadoes that we did see in South Florida, flooding, all kinds of stuff. It's a busy show. It's a Friday show. But right now, Zach is going to give us a quick little preview of what's going to happen today on the overview. Zach?
Matt, Sarah, thanks. Yeah, it's been rainy. There's that radar loop. It started over. We are seeing a training storm. That's when you get these storms that just continue to go over one area. Bainbridge, unfortunately, you guys are the ones in the limelight with Mariana. Plenty of rainfall. We'll get to those rain totals in just a second. We've got that great southerly flow and a stalled out front across our area, keeping all that moisture across our region. As we put in radar into motion, it's going to lag behind. But sure enough, all of this rain pushing into Tallahassee. This is the band that's now in South Georgia, and that's going to continue over the next couple of hours, leading to some hefty rainfall totals over portions of Mariana, Bainbridge, going into Thomas County as well. Thomasville, you'll be getting in on some of those training storms in the next couple of hours. Warm air advection, that's when you get all that warm air moving towards a colder location. That's what's going to happen over the next couple of hours over our viewing region. 75 in Perry, 72 in St. Marks, and warm at the coastline, 73 in Carabel, 72 in Apalachicola. Notice the 60s in South Georgia, 66 in Thomasville, 64 in Bainbridge, and 65 in Mariana. With that southerly flow, those 70s are going to lift upwards and warm you guys up tonight, into tomorrow, into Sunday, even into your day on Monday. This is not going to be a cold front, folks. This is going to be a warm front. And that's going to lead to those showers and thunderstorms, so make sure you bring your umbrella. Here's what we'll be talking about. Those rains and thunderstorms continuing, a wet weekend, and some very warm and humid temperatures. We'll get to all that coming up in the show. But right now, back to Matt, Sarah at the desk.
Thank you, Zach. I'm not really looking forward to that wet weekend ahead. It is Easter weekend, so if you did have outdoor plans for Sunday, you might want to reconsider that a little bit this weekend.
Yeah, it's not going to be the best weather for any Easter egg hunts outside, so that'll be disappointing for everyone who wants to do stuff like that.
Yeah, and from my neck of the woods down in South Florida, there was pretty significant weather yesterday, even more so than up here. We saw that squall line come through last night, push through here, but down in South Florida, they were talking about a lot of flooding.
I've definitely heard about the significant flooding down there. It's definitely been some dangerous conditions for everyone to be worrying about.
Yep, Boca Raton, Florida, just north of Pompano, saw near 6 inches of rain. Cars, you know, if you're going to run into the puddles, you know, we say it all the time on the show. Turn around, don't turn around. Just don't do it because your car's going to stall out. It's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be a good day.
Exactly.
But right now, we're going to be sending it on over to Casey for a look at our local.
Thanks, guys. Today is, again, a pretty dreary one across the viewing circle. This from the FSU Weather Stem camera earlier this afternoon. See the construction at Doak Campbell Stadium, the cloud cover really around, seeing rain on and off across our region. Now, Doppler radar does display the situation nicely. Shower activity has relented for now across the metro area. That's the good news, making for relatively nice conditions right now, so that's great to see. But you see that shower activity to the north, South Georgia counties. We're talking about Decatur over toward Grady and Thomas as well. Really getting into the action. Really need to monitor that to see how things do evolve this afternoon, as these areas could pick up a few inches of rain even in isolated areas before all said and done. Jackson County, Mariana, and the Panhandle already over 2 inches there. Tallahassee, yeah, half an inch, and St. Mark's an inch. based on the latest observations. Now, current conditions-wise, right now here in Tallahassee, we do see 72 degrees, overcast skies, all this story. Humidity pretty high, 87%. Those winds not too big of a factor outside of any shower thunderstorm activity, which we're not experiencing right now. Current temperature 72 Tallahassee, 72 St. Mark. A little warmer in the coast like Carabel, 73. 73 Wilmot, even Perry. We're just seeing a little bit more clearing. They actually had some sunshine earlier there in Taylor County. They're sitting at 75 degrees at this hour. Those winds, you see the southerly flow coming off the Gulf for the most part, just bringing in that moisture that's making it possible for storms to develop. We're going to be watching for a risk of an isolated strong storm to develop tomorrow and into Sunday as well. We're looking at some of the things behind the scenes here. Could see maybe a wind threat tomorrow and a hail threat on Sunday, but it shouldn't be too overwhelming, just a very isolated nature if it does materialize. Now, relative humidity value is 87% Tallahassee, again, but 100% Mariana, Thomasville, too. Really sticky, just nasty to be outside in. Now, back toward Florida southeast, you see this moisture here. South Georgia, too, getting into the action. Florida Peninsula, Jay Carstens, he's going to touch on that here a little bit later, bringing things out, going on across the state. Broward County, one of the spots he'll touch on, so we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Now, looking ahead to what we're going to expect, you see we have a stationary front for now, but this is going to turn into a warm front as we get later into the evening, overnight, tomorrow, and it's going to bring in some shower activities around the viewing circle. Again, thunderstorms are a likelihood too, so something we'll definitely be watching as this activity does train in here across the region. Now, as we go ahead and look ahead for tonight, though, 66, again, have that umbrella in hand. Tomorrow, you'll be seeing 74 degrees. Again, a rainy day, good day to watch a movie, really. This should be nice for that. And as we go ahead and look ahead to that 7-day forecast, Easter's ahead, unfortunately looking pretty rainy, but we're going to see some clearing, at least for a little bit. But right now, let's go ahead and take it over to Tyler for a look at the southeast.
Thank you, Casey. And Casey's told you our not so wonderful weather for the weekend, but to be quite honest, it's the only place in the southeast that's really going to have a deluge of the weekend. We had the warm front stationed just west of our area over towards Mariana and Crestview, Florida, as well as areas such as Dothan, Alabama. This will be the focal point of some shower and thunderstorm activity to really get ramping up over the weekend. And I'll show you that in a second. Lightning strikes have been a bigger issue downstate, and the reason for that is over here towards West Palm Beach and off into Atlantic. And the reason for that is it's warmer down there. They haven't seen overcast skies much of the day like we have seen up here. And the temperatures bear that out quite nicely. 72 degrees in Tallahassee, almost 80 in South Florida. However, we do have a cold front waiting in the wings for early next week. It's only 60 degrees in Tupelo, Mississippi at this present time. Current winds are not a big deal, only about 5 to 10 miles an hour across much of the southeast. Some areas are even calm. And the current relative humidity, you can see where the moist wedge is right over the tri-state region with an 87% humidity. Value in Tallahassee and much drier air has come in behind the cold front, even as close as Pensacola. Now, as we go into the future cast, this warm front's going to create impulses of energy that will produce some locally heavy rain as we go later on into Saturday and Sunday. In more of the fire hose pattern, we don't know exactly where these bands will set up, but where some of those locally training showers, like you saw over Bainbridge and Mariana, you could see over 4 inches of rain this weekend in some of those localized areas. Other areas could see 2 to 3 inches. Sunday right now seems to be heavier rainfall day, and there could be some stronger showers and thunderstorms both days, though the severe threat other than hail on Sunday seem really minimal. Temperatures in the 60s, but 40s north, and that will be about the same tomorrow. Highs in the 80s downstate and 70s and 60s for the rest of the southeast. But for right now, we're going to send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Tyler. And we're actually going to talk about some fire weather in the plains right now. Winter Storm Selene, it's hard to believe there's still winter storms around with our weather, but Winter Storm Selene has been blowing a lot of winds across the plains and actually fanning a couple forest fires, or other fires.
Yeah, there's a couple of large fires out there, wildfires. across much of the plains, very dangerous situation out there. A lot of low humidity values, low dew point values. They're all going to add up to equal, especially a lot of this tinder that's really dried out over the winter time. It's adding a little bit of fuel to the fire for those wildfires.
Mm-hmm. They're definitely burning. They've been burning largely since Tuesday. One of them started Tuesday, another started on Wednesday. And although the winds had kind of died down for a small bit, they're coming back today, especially with the fanning all of the fires, trying to make it, the winds are trying to spread it a bit more, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But
and there are some voluntary evacuations out there as well, but we will be monitoring the fire weather here. But right now we're going to take it out to take a look at the rest of the national picture, and I'm going to talk about that here just for a little bit. Here's all the watches, warnings, and advisories. There's a lot of them, so let's get through this one together, folks. I'm actually going to come on over here to our graphics computer to point this out just a little bit further. I don't think typically we just say the colors, but here we go. We're going to try something a little bit different. If we look into our areas, we got some gale warnings off the coast near D.C. in the northeastern part of the country. Those are some gale warnings. Those are high wind warnings right there. And, of course, we've got some freeze watches in the central part of the country near Tennessee. Looks like our graphics computer isn't cooperating with us to pop up those warnings, but we'll continue to move through them anyway. Let's look at these pink warnings now near Oklahoma and into Kansas, down into a little bit of Texas. Those are our fire weather watches. Sarah and I were just talking about those. These are the areas where we're watching for those potentials, even into New Mexico just a little bit, watching for the potential for some fire weather, especially some wildfires to erupt over there. Hey, now it's working with us. Thank you very much, Zach. Red flag warnings out there. Now we're watching those very carefully with the low dew points, low humidity values. And here it is. We've got a little bit of band of clouds over those areas, but really we're watching all this weather, soupy conditions down in the southeast, all associated with this energy moving in. We've got a stalled frontal boundary and some tropical energy moving in just a little bit over the southeast. And then we've got a low pressure system centered over Colorado right now, bringing actually a lot of snow into the slopes up there near Colorado, up into Utah, parts of Montana. So if you are heading on a ski trip, now a little bit late in March, you're going to find some nice powder up there on the slope. So looking good for some ski weather. South Dakota, that's starting to transition a little bit into some rainfall there. But now let's look in parts of Caribou. Saw a little bit of sleet in Bangor down there as well. A little bit more of a mix of rain and snow. That's going to start moving off the coast here associated with a low pressure system. So the snow and the sleet mix is starting to move on out. And just as I talked about before, up in the slopes, Billings getting in on that snowfall action as well. We're going to be seeing those snowfall totals pile up just a little bit over the next couple of days. But as we do move into the summer, or late spring months rather, we'll start to see some of that start to melt off here and possibly cause a little bit of river flooding as well. Let's look at those airport delays. LaGuardia right now, 26-minute delays. That's just because of volume. 23 out at LAX. Of course, we're watching all of the snowfall conditions possibly in the plains and near the Colorado area. Look at that. We've been watching it all day. Florida socked in with that rain. Tonight's forecast, we got that cool air behind this low pressure system filtering in with that snowfall. 21 in Denver is what we're calling for tonight, and then 33 Salt Lake City down here in the southeast. Actually looking pretty nice across most of the country. Tomorrow's forecast, the heat comes back just a little bit up into parts of Texas, 80s, even 87 in Phoenix. So warm conditions out in the west, rainy conditions out in the southeast. But right now, Sarah's going to bring it back home to focus our weather a little bit more.
yeah, we're going to look at our temperature for the last 20 hours. And overnight, overnight, of course, it was cooling down, but we actually saw it go up and down a little bit because of the rain we were experiencing overnight. And then, of course, all throughout the day, despite the rain, it has been increasing, but we only got to 73 on this graph. So right now the temperature is 72 in Tallahassee, 71 up in Monticello, 70 over in Quincy, a bit warmer down on the coast by Caribou. And the local radar, you can see these storms have largely moved to our north. So South Georgia is what's being hit mostly by these cells right now. There's still a little bit of what was hitting us earlier today coming through, but for the night it's cleared a little bit more than it had been earlier today. It had been a lot on us earlier today. Here you can see that the cells have gone a bit past us. They've gone to our north up to Georgia. There's a bit more going on to our south. And now to the future cast. So here we go. You can see these cells coming throughout Saturday afternoon. that'll be hitting through us, so make sure you're having your umbrellas on you throughout the day. The same for Sunday. You can see it gets a bit more severe Sunday evening. We're going to have to be looking out for some strong rain that might be affecting us in the area. Okay, for tonight, it is going to get down to 66 degrees, so you're going to want to have a jacket, preferably a rain jacket and an umbrella if you're going out tonight. The wind is going to be around 5 miles an hour, so it won't be enough to invert your umbrellas, but it's a good thing to be aware of. Planning your Saturday. Saturday is going to be very, very wet, so get prepared for that. Make sure if you're up at 8 a.m., hopefully you won't be up at 8 a.m. because it's a Saturday, but it's going to be a chilly 66, and the rain and the storms are going to be on us, so make sure, do not forget those umbrellas, do not forget to take care of, you don't want to make sure your hair gets messed up in the rain or any of that. Throughout the day, it's going to continue. It's very consistent throughout all of Saturday. And for the week ahead, you can see over here on Easter, it is going to be very stormy. Do not plan any outdoor brunches, outdoor Easter egg hunts. Those are unfortunately things you're not going to want to have this holiday. Throughout the week, it's going to have one day without a chance of rain, so get excited for Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be the day you're going to want to be more outside, but then for the later on in the week, you can tell, you're going to tell that the storms are going to come back for next weekend. So unfortunately, after one wet weekend, we may have another one after, but we're going to take it back to Casey and Jake at the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. Let's go ahead and now talk about some active weather that's been occurring over our state over the last couple of days.
Yeah, plenty to talk about, especially in Central and South Florida in terms of severe weather. Yesterday, a lot of rainfall in Boca Raton, Florida, as Matt and Sarah were alluding to at the first desks, and then also some pretty nasty stuff down in parts of eastern Broward County and St. Cloud, Florida, pretty close to the Orlando theme parks area.
Yeah, absolutely. Osceola County getting into some of this with the action, even a tornado warning down there last night. Tracking radar indicated rotation in that area.
Yeah, another one of those also occurred in Deerfield Beach, just north of Fort Lauderdale. Very heavily populated area down in Broward County, so that was definitely a significant thing to keep in mind there, but nothing really was confirmed in regards to that tornado, although there was a very strong signature picked up on radar, just like the St. Cloud situation.
Yeah, something that is very much worth noting for those communities. Always got to take heed if there is a tornado warning for your area, as Doppler radar does a good job typically of indicating where the rotation areas are with a possible tornado developing. Right now, Jake, you're going to go ahead and take a look of the Florida situation.
Yeah, like we were saying, a lot to talk about, and that's carrying over into today. Let's start it off with that satellite and radar imagery. It's a very cool thing to look at here. You see this big bubble of cloud cover and rainfall continuing to just reform itself once it moves away, pushing rainfall into the Florida Peninsula, Orlando and Tampa. Not really much of they're having a bit of a crazy situation right now. They squall in and move through central Florida earlier in the day, causing lots of wind damage across much of central Florida. Again, South Florida is also seeing some pretty nasty stuff, but that is moving off the coast. But again, Tampa's going to be seeing more as the night carries on. The lightning hasn't been too significant around the state. Middle of the Everglades, really, there's not too heavily populated. There's been a lot, and of course, in the West Palm Beach areas up towards Martin County, there's also been plenty to speak of. But otherwise, it's been pretty quiet lightning-wise around the state, but you got to keep in mind that one strike is really all it takes. Around here, let's look at temperatures. 72 degrees in Tallahassee, 65 in Mariana, 67 over in Pensacola. So a little bit cooler off to our west where most of that rainfall has been falling. Around the rest of the state, the further south you go, the warmer it gets. Key West is sitting under sunny skies right now at 78 degrees. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, sometimes rainy, 78 in West Palm Beach right now under cloudy skies with, again, a lot of lightning in that area as well as just to the north. Dew points are sitting in the 60s and 70s, 67 degrees in Orlando, 71 in West Palm Beach, and despite those sunny skies, still very humid down in Key West, sitting at 74. Now, the winds aren't much, except for West Palm Beach, of course, at 21 miles per hour in terms of speed, but earlier we had winds coming out of the south, coming out of the north in Tallahassee and coming out of the south in Jacksonville. That helps you to indicate where this stationary front is, as the winds tend to flow parallel to this boundary, so it'd be right in between Tallahassee and Jacksonville, and it's just not budging at all. So that's going to be around here for the next couple of days until it finally pushes its way out in parts of Sunday and Monday. Let's look at the future cast, and that's going to be holding, this current pattern is going to be holding all the way through Sunday, starting it off through Friday night. Again, Storms reforming in the Gulf of Mexico and pushing their way into the state along this frontal boundary. Central Florida, South Florida also going to get hit pretty hard. But the primary rainfall threat is actually looking like it's going to be for North Florida until that eventually pushes its way off towards the east. Now, tonight's forecast, 70 degrees in Orlando, cooler up to the north and west, 58 in Pensacola, and very warm still, very warm and muggy in South Florida, 73 degrees down in Miami. Tomorrow, we're looking at a high of 86 degrees in Orlando, 87 in Fort Myers, with some sunshine going to be out there throughout the day. Very hot down in Miami, parts of Broward County, but up towards the north, going to be looking a little bit cooler, of course, with all that rainfall sticking around. So while the rest of Florida is looking pretty nasty along with us, there is stuff to look forward to, of course, and this is our segue into the weekly sports weather segment, talking about a lot of stuff, including how about some Florida State women's basketball.
Yeah, going to Dallas. They're there to play against the Baylor Bears tomorrow. Women's basketball, Sweet 16 action in the middle of the afternoon there. So hopefully we can get that victory and move on to the Elite Eight.
The women are making President Obama very proud. Again, like you said before, he actually picked the team to make it to the Final Four this year. So they got the talent for it, and they got the drive. So I'm really looking forward to being able to watch that game and see what they can do. It's going to be very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Still be exciting for sure. Hopefully we can get that victory. Again, like I said, move on to the Elite Eight. Hopefully even getting on to that Final Four. And maybe even get on to the national championship. It'll be tough, though. UConn being our way if we get that far.
They will just never go away, will they? Let's talk about the men. First of all, we just got news over the last couple of days that Malik Beasley has hired an agent and is going to be going to the NBA, so we just wanted to issue this. Thank you to him for making this year really exciting for the men's basketball team. And Dwayne Bacon, in case he goes to the NBA too, he's not yet hired an agent, but best of luck to you, of course. If you decide that the NBA is the best future for you, we'd love to have you back, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, best of luck if that does not work out. Now, moving on now to the NCAA tournament tonight, the men's action, of course, they're getting into it.
Fun fact, an ACC team is featured in every single game. Syracuse plays Gonzaga. We got North Carolina's going up. We got Wisconsin versus Notre Dame. That should be a really fun game. And finally, Virginia is going to be facing off as well tonight. So those four games going to be deciding who are the final four teams in the Elite Eight to start action tomorrow as well as on Sunday.
Very exciting for sure. Again, Tony Bennett's squad with Virginia, Roy Williams, and North Carolina. Those two in action, both #1 seeds. Hopefully they can represent the ACC well into the Elite Eight.
I'll be looking forward to that. Of course, making us look good with that interesting conference season that we had. Real quick, we don't have a golf index graphic, but with the weather that has been going on recently, I felt the need to improvise. So this is a pretty good representation of how I'm feeling. We usually do a 1 to 5 scale here, but not exactly the best weekend to get out on the golf course. And if you decide to go out there, I would not recommend wearing those new white pants. That's for sure. Lots of mud stains, lots of sadness could be on the way if you decide to go out there at any point this weekend.
Don't want to do that again. Just really, you'll get soaking wet out there if you go.
Yeah. Now let's talk about baseball, of course, because with this break in the rainfall, we actually do have a game scheduled for tonight. It has been going on as planned, because the Dick Howser Stadium drainage system, of course, is top notch. So we're going to be playing against North Carolina State tonight, and then hopefully, if things hold up, tomorrow as well as Sunday. Yeah,
the Wolfpack. Maybe we can get that in. They're a high-quality opponent there that we will be playing. Maybe we can get the sweep. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, 15-5 to start off the season. 5-1 in ACC play. We just ended up winning 2 out of 3 back at Pittsburgh last week. So, like I was saying last week, we're back on the winning trail. So that's definitely good and something to look forward to in case things hold up for the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully people can get out there and enjoy it. But again, those breaks will be tough to find. Maybe we can squeeze a few in there, though. Kind of like squeezing the orange of a basketball.
Well, with that being said, let's take it out to Zach for one more look at the local weather. Zach, what's up?
Oh, a lot of stuff's up. 72 degrees, overcast skies. That's what's actually up in the sky. 68-degree dew point. That humidity is at 87%. Very humid outside. Of course, where it's raining, you've got 100% humidity. The atmosphere can't hold any more moisture, and therefore it rains. East-southeast wind, but notice the south component. That's an important part of your graphic, as we'll get into the winds in just a second. Temperatures pretty warm at the coastline. That's a little abnormal. We normally see warmer temperatures inland, mainly along those Georgia counties, the Florida-Georgia line, and cooler temperatures at the coast. We reverse that today with 75 in Perry and St. Marks, 73 down in Carabel, and 72 in Leon County, Tallahassee, 70 in Quincy. Then we move up into the Georgia counties, Thomas County, 66 in Thomasville, and 64 in Bainbridge. That southerly wind will advect that warmer temperatures, and with it, also these humidity levels. So yeah, we're sitting at 100% in Mariana, 100% in Thomasville, just changed at the coastline, 74 in St. Marks, 84 in Carabel. Very humid air mass, and these dew points, these humidity values going to continue to rise with that southerly wind, 7 out of the south in St. Marks, east-southeast in Tallahassee, but again, that southerly component. While they aren't big, it is still going to lead to warm air advection. That's where you begin to get all those warmer temperatures at the coastline to advect or move northward towards the colder temperature, so it will warm up for everybody as we go over the next couple of days. With that warming trend, we're going to see lapse rates. That's the temperature difference between the low levels, mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and as you get a higher lapse rate, that could lead to the potential for some stronger storms, possibly a couple of severe storms as we go into your day on Saturday and Sunday. The main threat would be hail in that case with those strong lapse rates. Otherwise, we're just watching that big ball of convection. We should begin to see yet another ball of convection already firing just south of New Orleans. This will be our next system as we go in all day tomorrow and Sunday. Yeah, it'll be off and on for a lot of people, but we'll time it out on your future cast. We will get a couple of breaks, and then here comes that big ball of convection tomorrow morning. Notice 10 a.m. on our timestamp. Pretty moderate to heavy rainfall, some at the coastline. That's where the heaviest will be. And then yet another break in the evening. We go into your day on Easter. Not a fun day to go outside, folks. You're going to want to keep those egg hunts inside. But we will begin to see this warm front lift northward, and with it, the rain chances will begin to move out of our region. Still, we got to deal with those strong storms potentially on Sunday. Tonight, we'll look at 66 degrees in Tallahassee as well as St. Marks, 65 at the coastline. Very mild night for everybody. Those showers and storms will taper off as we go into the overnight hours, and then early tomorrow morning, yet another rainy day, 76 in Valdosta, 74 in Tallahassee, and 72 at the coast. Here's your week ahead. Once that front moves through Sunday into Monday, early Monday morning, we'll have a couple of lingering showers. But notice, warm front, so we don't take a dip in the temperatures. Pretty dry this week, and then we get wet by next week and potentially yet another system. Casey and Jake, what you guys think?
We're going to need this a lot more. That's also your Easter egg hunt index, if we wanted to throw one of those out there. But, of course, there is light at the end of the tunnel. Well, not actually in the middle of the tunnel, I guess we could say. I usually say it the other way around. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday going to be looking a lot nicer after we get through this weekend of pretty gloomy, pretty ugly conditions outside.
Yeah, going to get nice as we get Tuesday, Wednesday. Sarah was saying earlier, Tuesday's going to be just a great day to be outdoors. Unfortunately, I know, Jake, you have an exam then.
Oh, that's so fitting. I'll be studying the next few days, but hey, at least this weather is good to just stay indoors and chill out for a change. It's been a really crazy semester, so I'm looking forward to having a weekend to just kind of sit around.
Yeah, absolutely. Thursday, Friday, though, Sarah Axon's starting to build back in. We'll see how that does evolve. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Also, follow us on Twitter. And you can watch our show anytime, livestream.com/FSU Weather. Watch us in the middle of the night if you want to just watch old episodes over and over again, really.
Don't forget to give the Instagram some love, too, of course. We're on Instagram as well, at FSU Weather. So for all of us here, I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens.
I'm Casey Cloud. Have a good night, everybody, and a great Easter weekend.
Stay dry.